God says, very good news is coming for you. It's an emergency of the heart, the soul, and the spirit, a message that cannot wait, one that was written long before you were born, spoken through whispers in the wind, through quiet moments in the dark, and through the unshakable stirrings inside you that remind you God has not forgotten your name. Tonight before 11:57 p.m., heaven leans closer to speak softly into your heart, to remind you that no matter how broken you feel, how tired you are, or how many times you've stumbled, you are not beyond the reach of divine love. Type 2323 if you agree. There are moments in life when everything around you seems heavy, when burdens pile higher than hope, and when even the strongest hearts feel like they're breaking apart under the weight of silence. You try to keep going, but inside, something feels empty, something aches for answers, comfort, or simply to be held. In these very moments, God wraps His arms around you quietly, without needing to be seen, and begins to mend the places that even you forgot were torn. His love doesn't always arrive with thunder or lightning, but with gentle nudges, reminders through unexpected kindness, or a feeling of peace you cannot explain. When Jesus walked on this earth, He didn't chase attention, power, or riches. He sat with the hurting, stood beside the outcast, touched the sick, and wept with the broken-hearted. And He still does. Through every ordinary day, Jesus draws near to you, not because you earned it or because you prayed perfectly, but because He loves you beyond understanding. You don't have to prove your worth to Him. You don't have to be strong all the time. You just have to let Him in. Type Amen if you believe. He sees the nights you've cried in silence, the mornings you've forced yourself to rise with trembling faith, and the hours you've fought battles no one else knows about. And still, He whispers, "You are mine." The very God who shaped the stars waits for you to hand Him your worries, your fear, your doubts, so He can replace them with peace, with purpose, and with promises kept. He doesn't abandon His children. Never has. Never will. In the waiting, He is working. In the silence, He is speaking. In your weakness, He is strong. And while the world may tell you that things are falling apart, heaven is arranging something beautiful. It may not look like what you expected. It may not come the way you imagined. But it will come because God is not a God who leaves His word unfulfilled. He knows your heartache. He's heard every prayer. He hasn't overlooked your pain, and He never stops writing your story. There is something sacred in the way God moves, often quietly, always with purpose, never too early, and never too late. That miracle you thought was forgotten? That door you believed was permanently closed? That breakthrough that felt like it would never arrive? He hasn't forgotten any of it. He holds every detail of your life like a treasure, and when the time is right, you'll see that every tear watered the soil for something more glorious than you could ever imagine. Jesus didn't come just to save you for eternity. He came to walk with you here, now, in your grief, your confusion, your waiting. He came to be your closest friend, your comfort in chaos, your light in darkness, your peace in the storm. His presence doesn't require perfection, just surrender. And when you surrender, not everything changes overnight, but everything begins to shift inside your soul. There is healing in His nearness. There is joy even in the struggle when He walks beside you. Sometimes God allows the struggle not to hurt you but to shape you. The fire doesn't burn you, it refines you. The pain doesn't destroy you, it prepares you. He is not punishing you. He is preparing you for something that will stretch your faith, expand your joy, and deepen your understanding of who He really is. If you knew what He was about to do, you'd be praising even in the pain, because the blessing coming your way is far greater than the loss you felt. Type 1111 if you trust in God. There's no place too dark that His light can't reach. No sin too big that His mercy can't forgive. No wound too deep that His hands can't heal. He is the God of impossible things, the mender of shattered hearts, the rescuer of lost souls, and the Father who never stops chasing after His children. Right now, even as you read this, He's reaching for you. He's calling you to stop trying to carry what was never meant to be yours alone. Let it go, and trust Him. You were never meant to walk this life alone. Every time you felt forgotten, heaven was closer than your next breath. Every time you felt weak, angels stood beside you. Every time you felt like giving up, grace was already on its way. You are not invisible to the One who created you. You are seen, you are loved, and you are chosen for something more than what you're going through now. And that more is on its way. Let the truth of God's promises sink deep into the places where doubt has lived for too long. Let Jesus breathe fresh hope into the corners of your soul that have grown weary. This isn't the end. This isn't where your story closes. It's just the beginning of a chapter you never saw coming. Something good is being written. Something beautiful is unfolding. And soon, when you least expect it, you'll see why it was worth the wait. You didn't come across these words by chance. God planned this moment because He knows exactly where you are and what you're carrying. What you feel, what you've lost, what you're afraid of, what you keep trying to fix in silence, He knows. And He's reminding you now that very good news is already on its way, even if you can't see it yet. Even if it feels like everything around you is standing still. Type 222 to receive His peace. A powerful 7-second morning ritual, once hidden in CIA files, is resurfacing, and people are already seeing fast financial breakthroughs. It takes only seconds, yet activates a dormant wealth center in the brain most people never access. Click the link in the description and comments now. Access it before it disappears. Sometimes, the greatest battles are the ones nobody sees. The kind where you smile in front of others but feel completely empty inside. The kind where you show up for work, for family, for life, but deep down, you feel like you're falling apart. But even in those invisible battles, God is present. He sees the cracks, the fatigue, the quiet desperation, and still, He doesn't turn away. Instead, He draws closer. He listens to the unspoken pain. He feels your heart cry out in silence. And even when you can't find the words, He understands. You may be thinking, I don't know how much longer I can keep holding on. But God says, you don't have to hold it all together. That's my job. He never asked you to be perfect. He never demanded that you be strong all the time. All He asks is that you lean on Him, that you allow His love to meet you where you are, because you don't have to walk this path alone. You've never had to. And you never will. There's something sacred about the way God works. His timing is not like ours, and neither are His methods. Sometimes He heals us instantly, and other times He heals us slowly, layer by layer, so we'll learn to trust Him more deeply. Sometimes He opens doors we never saw coming, and other times He closes doors we thought were permanent, not to punish us, but to protect us. His love is always intentional. His delays are never denials. When He says, "Wait," it's only because what's coming is better than what you thought you needed right now. Type 555 if you trust Jesus fully. It may feel like nothing is changing. The days may feel long and heavy. But in the unseen, God is building something eternal inside you. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And like a seed in the dark, you are about to break through. The pain you're feeling now isn't the end of the road, it's the stretching before the promise. You may not see the full picture yet, but the one who holds the universe in His hands is writing every line of your story with purpose. He hasn't forgotten the prayers you whispered in the quiet. He hasn't ignored the tears that fell when no one else was around. He hasn't overlooked the faith it took just to keep going today. And He certainly hasn't walked away from your situation. In fact, He's been nearer than ever, gently holding you, quietly strengthening you, and preparing the way ahead, because what's ahead is far greater than what's behind. God does not bring you through valleys to leave you there. He walks with you through them, leading you out, guiding your steps, even when the path feels unclear. And though the night may feel long, morning is coming. Hope is rising. Healing is closer than you think. What you thought was the end may just be the beginning of the most beautiful chapter of your life. The presence of pain does not mean the absence of God. Sometimes it is in the deepest pain that we find the most tender parts of His love. He is not far from the broken-hearted, He is closest to them. When life feels like it's unraveling, He is weaving something sacred, something good, something holy that will soon make sense in the light of eternity. But for now, all He asks is that you stay close. That you keep believing, even if your faith is just a whisper. That you let Him carry what you were never meant to hold. If you're feeling forgotten, remember this: the God who keeps every star in the sky has not overlooked you. If you're feeling tired, remember, the God who created rest knows how to renew your strength. If you're feeling anxious, remember, the Prince of Peace still calms storms. And if you're feeling unworthy, remember, Jesus gave everything just to call you His. You are not here by accident. You are chosen, beloved, and held. You are not a mistake. Your story is not over. And even now, God is weaving together the healing, the breakthrough, the provision, and the answer you've been waiting for. Keep showing up. Keep trusting. Keep believing that something beautiful is coming, because it is. The valley won't last forever. The pain will not always feel this sharp. The confusion will not always cloud your days. There is peace coming, a kind you've never known before. There is joy coming, deeper than anything the world could ever offer. There is a shift happening in the unseen, and soon you'll look back and see that God never left your side for a moment. His love is not just something you read about, it is something you live through. It is not just a promise from the past, it is power for today. Jesus didn't just come to give you hope for eternity. He came to walk with you in every moment of this life. He is your anchor in the storm, your strength in the battle, your light in the darkness, and your healing in the broken places. So let this be your reminder, even when life feels like it's crumbling, even when the days blur together and hope feels distant, God is working. He is rebuilding what was lost. He is restoring what was broken. He is redeeming what felt wasted. And He is not done with you yet. Even if things feel quiet, even if everything feels delayed, even if your heart is weary from the waiting, God is not done. He is never done until the beauty He promised you has bloomed into reality. Don't let go. Don't walk away now. This message is for you, and the timing is not an accident. God knows what your soul needs even before you do, and He's speaking to it now. Type 1919 to receive miracles. A simple but powerful 7-second at-home ritual, it's hidden in CIA files for years, is now changing lives rapidly. Backed by neuroscience research, it can begin shifting your financial direction in just days. Click the link in the description and comments now and step into abundance today. There's a kind of tired that rest can't fix. The kind of ache that goes deeper than muscles or bones. It sits inside the heart and lingers in the mind, wrapped in memories, regrets, or disappointments that never fully healed. You carry yourself forward, day after day, smiling when needed, showing up when expected, but part of you still wonders if God hears your silent prayers. If He sees what you're holding back. If He understands what you've had to survive. The truth is, He does. He always has. And not 1 ounce of your pain has gone unnoticed by Him. The world may look at your outside and make assumptions, but God sees the real you. The one who stayed kind when it would have been easier to become cold. The one who kept believing when it would have been easier to give up. The one who tried again even when it hurt. He sees that kind of courage. And He blesses it. You haven't missed your moment. You're not behind. You haven't ruined your chance. God's mercy is not limited by human mistakes, and His timing is never bound by the clock. Some of the most beautiful seasons of growth are hidden. Just like seeds buried deep in the soil, your prayers, your tears, your late-night talks with God, and your quiet faithfulness have been preparing you for what's next. You don't need to force the future. You just need to stay close to the one who holds it. Because even when it looks like nothing is happening, He is arranging, aligning, and anchoring you for a miracle. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. There's something special about those who trust God even when the answers don't come quickly. It's easy to believe when everything makes sense, but it takes real faith to believe when nothing does. That's the kind of faith that touches heaven. That's the kind of faith that shakes darkness and brings light into the most broken places. And if that's the kind of faith you've been living with, imperfect, trembling, but real, God honors that. Not 1 moment has been wasted. Not 1 ounce has gone unseen. You may have cried more in the last year than ever before. You may have lost things you thought would last forever. You may have prayed until your voice went quiet and still not seen the change you begged for. But even in all that, God was not silent. He was shaping your spirit, deepening your strength, building a foundation that wouldn't break when the blessing finally arrived. He hasn't let you go, not even for a second. And what He's about to do in your life will make sense of every silent season you walked through with trembling hands. Let your heart rest tonight knowing this: God is not pacing the floor in worry. He's not trying to figure things out last minute. He's not caught off guard by your situation. He already has the answer. He already has the breakthrough. He already has the restoration, the healing, the open door, prepared, set apart, and heading your way. Not because you earned it. Not because you did everything right. But because He loves you. Because He is good. Because He never stops being your Father. It doesn't matter what others have said about your life. It doesn't matter who left, what failed, or how long it's been. When God speaks over you, His word overrides every other voice. And His word never returns empty. It always fulfills its purpose. The world may label you as broken or behind, but God calls you beloved. Redeemed. Worth saving. Worth healing. Worth fighting for. There is something about broken people that God loves to use. Not the ones who have it all figured out, but the ones who keep coming back to Him with honest hearts. The ones who say, "I don't know what to do, but I know you do." Those are the hearts heaven responds to. And maybe you don't feel strong right now. Maybe you feel like you're barely holding on. That's okay. You were never meant to carry it all by yourself. Jesus didn't come for the ones who have it all together. He came for the tired, the wounded, the ones who've been overlooked and underestimated. He came for the ones who need comfort, the ones who need second chances, the ones who need healing in the places that no one else can reach. That includes you. You don't have to be brave all the time. You don't have to pretend that it doesn't hurt. You don't have to fix it all in one day. Just take a breath. Let yourself rest in the truth that God is not finished. The story isn't over. And the part that's coming next, it's going to be more beautiful than you imagined. The tears you've cried have not been in vain. The late nights, the lonely prayers, the quiet acts of love and faithfulness, they are all seen by a God who rewards what's done in secret. You may not be praised by people. You may not be understood. But you are known by God. And being known by Him is greater than anything this world could ever give you. You've held on this long, and that matters. You've kept believing through the storms, and that matters. You've stayed kind in a harsh world, and that matters. And now, something is shifting. Something is changing. A blessing is forming in the silence. It's not too late. You're not too far. And everything that felt like a delay was only divine preparation for something better. What if wealth was never about luck, but a hidden brain signal buried in CIA files? This frequency is opening doors, attracting opportunities, and changing lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to attract wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brain wave today. His eyes are on you. His hands are over you. His heart is for you. This moment is not the end, and the weight you carry today is not yours to bear alone. The road has been long, the nights have been heavy, and the questions have been loud, but even now, in the stillness, something sacred is unfolding. You are not abandoned. You are not left behind. You are being led, step by step, into the very promise God whispered into your spirit long ago. Type yes to affirm God's promise over your life. There's something holy about quiet seasons. They may feel empty, but they're often the seasons where God does His deepest work. In the silence, He rebuilds what was broken. In the waiting, He stretches your faith. In the unknown, He teaches you to trust, not in what you see, but in who He is. And though it might feel like everything is standing still, heaven is always in motion. God doesn't pause your life to punish you. He slows things down to protect you, to guide you, and to prepare the ground so that when the rain finally falls, the blessing won't be wasted. You've prayed, you've believed, and still, there are days where nothing makes sense. It's okay to admit that. God doesn't need perfection from you, He needs surrender. He needs honesty. He needs your heart, even if it's messy, tired, or full of questions. He meets you in that place, not with judgment, but with compassion. Jesus never turned away the weary. He never rejected the broken. And He's not turning you away now. In fact, He's drawing nearer, wrapping you in a love so deep that even your darkest moments are held in peace. Type 666 if you trust Jesus with your story. The path ahead may look uncertain, but God already knows every turn. What you're walking through isn't wasted time, it's preparation. He's growing something in you that pressure alone can't produce. He's giving you roots so deep that when the winds come, you won't be shaken. He's stretching your heart to hold more of His grace, more of His peace, and more of His purpose. And yes, it's hard. But it's also holy. Because in the middle of this struggle, your faith is becoming real. It's no longer just something you talk about, it's something you live. You've carried things you never asked for. You've held in pain you didn't know how to speak. You've been strong for everyone else while quietly wondering who's there for you. God knows. He's seen it all. And now He wants you to know, He's got you. You don't need to perform for His approval. You don't have to carry guilt for being tired. He simply wants your heart. He wants to walk with you through the valley, not rush you out of it. He wants to sit with you in the questions, not force quick answers. He is with you in every breath, every step, every silent prayer. And as much as you might think you're forgotten, you're not. Heaven is full of plans for you. Plans for hope. Plans for restoration. Plans for joy that runs deeper than your sorrow. The reason you're still here, the reason this message found you, is because your story isn't finished. You haven't seen the full picture yet. You've only seen the battle, the bruises, the waiting, but God is preparing the victory, the healing, the celebration that will one day make it all make sense. He's not a God who lets pain go unnoticed. He's not a father who forgets his children. He's not a savior who walks away when things get hard. He's the one who stays when others leave. He's the one who holds when everything else falls apart. And He's the one who's sending very good news straight to your door, news that will restore what was lost, heal what was broken, and remind you of who you are in Him. There is no shame in feeling weak. There is no guilt in wondering why. But there is hope, real hope, in Jesus. Not the kind that promises ease, but the kind that promises presence. Not the kind that skips over pain, but the kind that meets you right in the center of it. God isn't asking you to figure everything out. He's asking you to come to Him, as you are, and let Him be your peace. Your future is not in the hands of fear, failure, or the opinions of others. Your future is in the hands of the One who called light out of darkness, who turned graves into gardens, who raised Jesus from the dead, and who still works miracles today. Don't let the delay make you believe the lie that God has changed His mind about you. He hasn't. His love hasn't lessened. His plans haven't shifted. His hand is still writing your story with care, and the next chapter holds more healing and joy than you've known before. If it feels like you're at the end of yourself, that's not a failure, that's an invitation. Because it's in those moments when you run out of your own strength that God steps in with His. When you've reached the edge, He builds a bridge. When you've cried all your tears, He gathers them and waters the soil of your future. Nothing you've walked through has been for nothing. Nothing you've lost is beyond restoration. But heaven sees you standing, still choosing to wake up, still choosing to move forward, still choosing to believe even when belief feels fragile. That quiet strength matters more than you know. God is not disappointed in your tired faith. He cherishes it, because faith that survives pain is precious to Him. Type 2020 to claim God's timing. A 7-second at-home ritual, scientifically proven by neuroscience labs and hidden for decades in CIA files, is now public, and people are seeing money flow into their lives. Scientists say it activates a brain pathway linked to abundance. Click the link in the comments below before this knowledge disappears again. There are seasons when life feels like a long pause, when nothing seems to change and answers feel distant. In those moments, it's easy to assume God has gone silent or stepped away. But silence does not mean absence. Often, it means God is working so deeply that words would only distract from what He is building. Just as roots grow unseen beneath the soil, your spirit is being strengthened in ways you will one day thank Him for. You are becoming steadier, wiser, more compassionate, even if it doesn't feel like progress right now. God knows how easy it is for doubt to creep in when prayers feel unanswered. He understands the frustration of waiting, the ache of uncertainty, and the exhaustion of hoping again after disappointment. Yet He gently reminds you that waiting does not mean being ignored. It means being trusted with a future that requires patience. He is not testing you to see if you will fail. He is preparing you to receive something that would overwhelm you if it came too soon. You have walked through things that changed you. Loss has shaped you. Pain has softened you. Disappointment has humbled you. But none of these things were meant to break you. They were meant to deepen you. God never wastes suffering. Every tear you cried carried a prayer. Every sleepless night carried a lesson. Every moment you felt alone was an invitation for Him to draw closer, even if you didn't feel it at the time. Jesus understands weariness in a way no one else can. He understands betrayal, rejection, loneliness, and grief. He understands what it feels like to carry a burden so heavy that it presses the breath out of your chest. That is why His presence brings comfort that the world cannot give. He does not rush you. He does not shame you for hurting. He sits with you, quietly reminding you that love still exists, that hope is not gone, and that this pain is not the final word over your life. You may wonder if you are strong enough for what lies ahead. The truth is, you don't need to be strong on your own. God's strength fills the spaces where yours runs out. When you feel like you have nothing left to give, He becomes your supply. When your heart feels empty, He pours in peace. When your mind feels restless, He brings calm. You were never meant to rely only on yourself. You were always meant to lean on Him. Type 1111 if you place your trust in God. There is a tenderness in God's care that often goes unnoticed. He notices the smallest details of your life. He sees the way you try to stay kind even when you're hurting. He sees the way you hold back tears so others don't worry. He sees the way you keep going when you feel like stopping. Nothing about you is overlooked. Nothing about your story is insignificant. You are known fully, loved completely, and guarded carefully by a God who does not lose sight of His children. Sometimes God allows the road to feel longer because the destination is worth it. If He rushed the process, you would arrive unprepared. So He walks with you slowly, teaching you trust, shaping your character, and strengthening your faith along the way. One day, you will look back and realize that the delay protected you from things you didn't see and prepared you for blessings you couldn't imagine. You may feel like you've been carrying too much alone, and that feeling is not wrong. It is a signal from your soul that it needs rest in God. Lay down the weight of expectations. Lay down the fear of the future. Lay down the guilt of the past. None of these belong on your shoulders anymore. God invites you to exchange them for peace, for reassurance, and for the quiet confidence that comes from knowing He is in control. The love of God is not fragile. It does not depend on your mood, your performance, or your understanding. It stays steady when you feel uncertain. It stays close when you feel distant. It stays faithful when you feel weak. There is nothing you can do to make Him love you more, and nothing you can do to make Him love you less. That kind of love is rare. That kind of love changes lives. Even now, something is shifting. You may not see it yet, but your heart is being aligned with a future that holds healing, stability, and joy. God is clearing paths you haven't walked yet. He is softening hearts you haven't met yet. He is opening doors you haven't knocked on yet. What feels like waiting is actually preparation in motion. If your heart feels bruised, let God tend to it gently. If your faith feels small, let Him carry it for you. If your hope feels faint, let Him breathe life back into it. You are not expected to have all the answers. You are only invited to trust the one who does. And He does not fail. He does not forget. He does not abandon what He has begun. You are not forgotten, not for a moment, and everything you've gone through, every tear, every prayer, every sleepless night, has been carried straight to heaven's heart. You may not feel it right now, but you are standing in the middle of a turning point. You didn't come across these words by mistake. You were meant to read this, to feel this, to know this deep in your soul. Very good news is already on the way. Type Amen if you believe He's not done yet. It's easy to feel like God is distant when your life feels empty. When you're doing everything you know how to do, praying, hoping, waiting, and still, things don't seem to change. When your strength runs dry but the mountain remains. When you're asking for peace, but your heart keeps racing. In those times, it can feel like maybe God isn't listening, maybe your faith isn't enough, maybe your pain is too messy to matter. But those are lies. Because even in the silence, He hears you. Even in your weakness, He loves you. And even in your confusion, He is closer than the breath in your lungs. A classified 7-second morning ritual, once buried in CIA files, is quietly transforming financial lives. In under 30 seconds, it helps shift the mind from scarcity to wealth, with many reporting surprise income and peace. Click the link in the comments below before the page is removed. Jesus never promised that life would be easy, but He did promise that we wouldn't have to face it alone. He never said there wouldn't be storms, but He did say He would be our anchor in the middle of them. And sometimes, it's in the middle of the chaos that we find out just how strong His arms really are. Because when everything else falls away, when nothing is left to hold on to, we learn that He has been holding us all along. Type 222 if you feel His hand in your life right now. There's a sacred beauty in the middle of pain, not because the pain itself is good, but because of the way God meets us inside of it. He doesn't always remove the hardship immediately, but He walks with us through it. He brings us people who remind us we're not alone. He speaks through songs that reach the part of our hearts we didn't know needed healing. He shows up in the quiet moments, in ways we can't explain, and reminds us that we're still His. Sometimes we wait for a sign, a miracle, a breakthrough, something big and clear that tells us God is moving. But often, His signs come in whispers, in soft reassurances, in the way you wake up one day and realize you're not as anxious as you were last week. In the way the same words that used to make you cry now give you peace. In the way you find strength you didn't know you had to take another step. That is God working. That is God healing. That is God speaking in the smallest but most powerful ways. Don't rush this season, no matter how much it hurts. Because this is where you're learning how deep God's love really goes. This is where your faith is being stretched, not to break you, but to make room for more joy, more trust, more grace. The deeper your roots go now, the taller you'll stand when the blessings begin to overflow. And they will. Because God always finishes what He starts. You may not recognize yourself when you come through this, but that's not a bad thing. You will be softer but stronger. You will be quieter but more powerful. You will have more understanding, more patience, more compassion, for others and for yourself. That's what God does in the refining. He doesn't just fix your situation, He transforms your heart. Let yourself believe again. Let yourself hope again. You are not too far gone. It is not too late. And what is meant for you will always find its way to you in God's time. He's never early, never late. And though we often want fast answers, God offers something better, answers that last, healing that reaches the root, blessings that build you up from the inside out. Your past does not disqualify you. Your mistakes do not disqualify you. Your doubts, your questions, your lowest moments, they do not make God love you any less. In fact, sometimes it's your deepest mess that becomes the exact place He chooses to pour out the most grace. Because when you finally stop trying to hold it all together, when you finally admit you can't do this on your own, that's when heaven moves. So breathe, beloved child of God. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not broken beyond repair. You are in the middle of a transformation, and what's coming is going to make sense of every hard thing you've walked through. The tears you cried were not wasted. They've watered something sacred, and soon, it will bloom. You won't always feel this tired. You won't always feel this uncertain. And you won't always feel this heavy. There will be laughter again. There will be lightness again. There will be moments where you realize you've made it through something you thought would break you. And when those moments come, you'll know that it wasn't by your own strength, but by the faithfulness of a God who never gave up on you, even when you were ready to give up on yourself. Right now, you might only be surviving, but surviving is still a form of strength. Waking up, showing up, praying even when you don't feel anything, that is faith in motion. That is victory in the making. And soon, your story will be one of overcoming, of rising, of healing. Not because it was easy, but because God carried you every single step. Your life still matters. Your future still has purpose. Your heart still holds beauty. And your story is still being written by the hands of a Savior who died to make sure your ending would be one of hope, not despair. There is one who walks beside you, who goes before you, and who watches over you when you are too tired to lift your head. His name is Jesus, and He has never once let go of your hand. Even if you couldn't feel it. Even when you weren't sure if He was near. He was there, and He still is. Type 555 if you trust in His timing, not your own. Sometimes we mistake stillness for absence. When life goes quiet and nothing seems to move, it's easy to wonder if heaven has turned away. But what you call silence, God calls strategy. What you think is delay, He calls preparation. And what you see as unanswered, He knows is being answered in a way so deep, so complete, and so beautiful, you wouldn't believe it if He showed you all at once. That's why He moves slowly sometimes, not to hurt you, but to protect you, to strengthen you, and to make sure your heart is ready to carry what He's about to give. You've cried. You've waited. You've carried pain with grace, even when it felt too much. You've watched others receive answers while you waited in the quiet, wondering if your turn would ever come. God saw it all. He still sees it. He hasn't been blind to your pain or deaf to your prayers. And while others may have moved on, while some may have misunderstood you, God never has. He understands every part of you, even the parts you haven't had the courage to speak aloud. Do you know, inside your brain is a small region linked to wealth and success, once buried in restricted research and hidden in CIA files. This newly revealed frequency is helping people replace stress with financial ease, and God has guided you here. Click the link in the description and comments to activate this hidden brain wave now. And he wants you to know, the delay is not denial. It is not punishment. It is not failure. The waiting has not been wasted. What you've been asking for, healing, peace, restoration, breakthrough, is already in his hands, and in his time, it will be placed in yours. He doesn't tease. He doesn't forget. He doesn't give hope just to take it back. That hope you carry, even if it's quiet now, was planted there for a reason. It was placed in you by the same God who parts seas, calms storms, and raises the dead to life. Type 1212 if you still walk by faith, even when it's hard. There are parts of your life that may feel messy right now. There are days where the past still hurts and the future still feels uncertain. But God isn't intimidated by your pain. He isn't bothered by your doubt. He isn't waiting for you to fix everything before He blesses you. In fact, it's in your most fragile, most imperfect moments that He does some of His most powerful work. Because He doesn't love you for what you can offer, He loves you because you are His. The world tells you to be strong, to keep going, to hold it all together. But God says, come as you are. You don't have to impress Him. You don't have to have all the answers. He wants your real self, not your polished one. The one who is tired, afraid, or confused. The one who's trying so hard to be okay. That's the version He wants to sit with. That's the one He wraps in peace, not the one pretending everything is fine. And when you give Him that version of yourself, that's when the real healing begins. That's when things start shifting. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you'll feel His presence holding you steady. You'll begin to notice little signs, small answers, gentle moments, unexpected kindness, that remind you He's near, working in ways you didn't expect. And slowly, without even realizing it, hope will rise again. You don't have to fear what's ahead. You don't have to guess what's next. The same God who brought you this far is not about to leave you here. He already sees the outcome. He already knows the path. He knows where your joy will return, where your heart will heal, and where the answers you've waited for will finally arrive. And when they do, they won't feel rushed or forced. They will feel just right. Because they will be from Him. It's okay if you've stumbled. It's okay if you've felt weak. It's okay if you've doubted. You are still His child. You are still worthy of every good thing He's written with your name on it. Nothing you've done has canceled the love He has for you. Nothing you've lost has disqualified you from His promises. If anything, it has drawn Him closer to you. Because He is drawn to the broken-hearted. He is drawn to those who need grace, not those who think they have it all together. You don't need a perfect track record to receive His blessings. You just need a willing heart. A heart that still believes, even when it's hard. A heart that still reaches for Him, even when it doesn't understand the why. A heart that says, I'm still here, God, even when it feels tired. That kind of heart will never be ignored by heaven. That kind of heart is precious to Him. So breathe. Rest. Release the pressure you've placed on yourself. Let God hold what's too heavy. Let Him decide the when, the how, and the what. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not alone. Very good news is coming, not because you've earned it, but because He is faithful. He always has been. And He still is. The breakthrough you've been waiting for, the peace, the provision, the restoration, it's already in motion. You may not feel it yet. You may not see it. But it's coming. Slowly. Surely. Powerfully. In a way that will leave no doubt it was God who did it. It may have felt like a long season of silence, of waiting, of praying without seeing, but the silence never meant you were forgotten. The waiting never meant you were left behind. God has been working in ways unseen, and very good news is making its way to you even now, timed perfectly, prepared carefully, and wrapped in His love. Type 2323 if you're holding on through the dark. There's something tender about how God holds us in our most fragile moments. He doesn't scold your sadness. He doesn't rush your healing. He doesn't walk away when your faith feels small. He stays. Right in the middle of your struggle, your fear, your confusion, He stays. Because He's not here for your performance, He's here for your heart. And your heart, even bruised and weary, is precious to Him. There are days when the past still echoes loudly. When the pain resurfaces without warning. When you wonder if you'll ever feel truly free again. And in those moments, God doesn't expect you to have perfect words or unshakable strength. He simply wants your honesty. He wants your nearness. And even when you feel too weak to come closer, He comes closer to you. Not with pressure, but with peace. You've walked through storms that others never saw. You've kept quiet when your soul wanted to scream. You've shown up, smiled, given, and carried more than anyone knows. And that matters. It matters to God. You may feel invisible to the world sometimes, but you have never been invisible to Him. Not once. Every hidden tear has been seen. Every silent cry has reached Him. And every weary step forward has made heaven rejoice. God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for surrender. And when you hand over what's been weighing you down, even if it's messy or incomplete, He doesn't reject it, He receives it. He takes the pieces and begins the gentle work of restoration. Not a rushed fix, but a healing so deep that when it's done, you won't even recognize the weight you once carried. Type 1919 if you're ready for that kind of healing. Financial freedom is not about effort, but activating a hidden brain signal once buried in CIA files. Neuroscience shows this sound wave helps attract money and opportunity faster, and thousands are already seeing unexpected income. Click the link in the description and comments now to activate the ancient money wave today. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a breath. God is not in a hurry, and you don't have to be either. Healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it happens slowly, quietly, in the background of ordinary days. Sometimes it's the moment you realize your chest doesn't ache like it used to. Or when a memory no longer brings pain but peace. Or when a new dream begins to take root where loss once lived. These moments are sacred. They're signs that even in the quiet, God is moving. You are not behind. You are not late. Your journey is not broken. Just like flowers bloom in their own season, your life is unfolding exactly as it needs to. You may not understand the pace. You may not like the pauses. But you are being led by a God who sees farther than you can imagine and loves deeper than you can comprehend. You're not walking in circles. You're being shaped. Every delay, every closed door, every painful goodbye, they're all part of something bigger. You are being led to a place of strength, of clarity, of purpose. And when you arrive, it won't just be about the blessing. It'll be about who you've become through the journey. There's a version of you on the other side of this pain, stronger, softer, wiser, more grounded. God sees that version already. He sees who you're becoming, and He's proud of the steps you're taking, even the small ones. Especially the small ones. Because it's in the small, faithful moments, getting up when you don't feel like it, praying when it hurts, loving when it's hard, that you're growing into the person He created you to be. Sometimes we don't need everything to be fixed. Sometimes we just need to know we're not alone. That someone sees us. That someone cares. Let this be your reminder, God sees you. He knows your heart better than you do. And He cares more than you could ever understand. He hasn't left. He hasn't changed His mind. He hasn't forgotten the dreams He placed inside you. In fact, He's nurturing them, preparing them, aligning them with the right people, places, and timing. The moment that seemed like a loss might turn out to be your greatest redirection. The closed door might be the one thing saving you from pain. The unanswered prayer might be His way of giving you something better. He doesn't always show you the map, but He walks with you step by step. You don't need to see the whole picture to trust His hand. All you need is the next step, and the courage to take it, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart is still healing. Faith isn't about never feeling fear. It's about moving forward anyway, knowing that God's love is bigger than your fear. And in the days ahead, you will begin to see glimpses of the breakthrough. The heaviness will lift little by little. The peace will begin to settle in places that felt broken. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize that what once felt like the end was actually the beginning of something better than you could have written for yourself. So hold on a little longer. Keep breathing. Keep believing. The silence is not the end of your story. It's the space before the promise is fulfilled. God is still writing. And the next chapter is full of beauty, full of joy, and full of answers. Not because you figured everything out, but because you trusted Him when it was hardest. There's something holy about endurance. Not the loud kind that announces its strength, but the quiet kind, the one that keeps walking, keeps praying, keeps believing even when there's no visible sign of change. The kind that lifts its head after another hard day and says, "I'm still here, God." That kind of faith is precious to Him. That kind of heart touches heaven in a way few things do. And if you've been walking in that quiet strength, please know that God honors it. He delights in it. And He responds to it. Sometimes we think we need to be loud with our faith to be heard. But Jesus heard the woman who touched His robe in a crowd. He saw Zacchaeus in a tree. He stopped for the blind man who cried out. He always noticed the ones who reached for Him, even silently, even desperately. And He notices you, too. Right here. Right now. In your waiting, in your wondering, in your whisper of a prayer, He hears you. You may have spent nights asking, why haven't things changed yet? You may have wondered if you did something wrong, if maybe you missed your moment. But God isn't limited by time. He's not disappointed in your questions. And He's certainly not withholding out of punishment. When He waits, it's because He's building something better than you imagined. He's mending what you didn't know was broken. He's strengthening what you didn't realize was weak. And He's aligning every part of your life to hold the weight of the blessing that's coming. There's a version of you that exists on the other side of this season, one who's not only healed, but whole. One who no longer walks in fear but in freedom. And everything you're experiencing right now is shaping that version of you.